Hello and welcome to Nick's Nerd News. This is where you come to listen to breaking news when it comes to the nerd world. That means we have breaking video game news, movie news, and TV news. If you want to hear about the latest games, the latest movies, and everything else, stick around. Because here's your host, Nick, from a tiny studio in San Diego.
Well, hello and happy September 17th. Hey, Batman Day's this weekend, so we got that to look forward to, right? Maybe I don't think there's going to be anything major. I think the Batman Deadpool comic comes out, if that's not already out. That might already be out. Regardless, Batman Day's coming up. How are you guys doing today? How are you guys doing in general? It's been an interesting week for sure. I got burned at the beach today, so that happened. That's a thing. Which, again, somewhat self-inflicted. Stayed a little longer than I thought, and was like, I'm good on lotion. I don't think I need to put too much. No, that was the wrong decision to make. Granted, I needed a tan anyway, but. No, let's talk about why you guys are here. You're not here to talk about the beach, right? So, some interesting things going on today. I did see The Long Walk last night. That movie, I've needed like a full day to process that movie, realistically. And we're going to talk about it later. We learned very recently the Muppets are coming back with a new Muppet show because of Seth Rogen, and that's like some of the greatest news to talk about. And Nintendo had a direct on Friday. Some Pokemon news that are shaking some people up, myself included. I think it's a little ridiculous what they're doing. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of creators talk about it already, given that this happened on Friday. We are also going to talk about the Emmys, which were on Sunday. And I think there's some things that I didn't know about, shows that I didn't know about that I definitely want to take a look at now. There's a lot of things to discuss. We're going to talk about the Mass Effect show has put out its casting, what it's looking for in its cast, I should say. So people are now already starting to speculate. I'm confused. Is that show going to start filming next year, or is it going to start airing next year? That's what I've been confused about since that announcement last week. Why would they start filming? Why would they start casting when they're not filming for another year? Like that doesn't make sense. I don't know. Maybe it does. TV doesn't make sense anymore because we have to wait literal years between seasons of a television show instead of like 4 months like it used to be. Because what reason I have zero understanding of. Yeah, that's the biggest stuff. There's another big thing we're going to talk about a little later that just, it really irks me to a degree because of just things going on, and I'm not saying you have to agree with things, and I'm not saying... Anyway, we'll get to it later. You probably know what I'm talking about. That's going to be the biggest stuff we're talking about today. Obviously, there's other things. So let's not waste any more time, and let's get right to the news. But before we do that, why don't you head over to nixnerdnews.com. That is the one-stop shop for all things Nick's Nerd News. You can listen to the show right in your browser, or you can take us on the go, because I got links, all the links to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Right? Also, check out the social media tab. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Threads. We got a Facebook. And guess what? YouTube's also a social media site. What? Anyway, let's not waste any more time and get straight to the news, shall we? All right, why don't we see what's going on? So, in our first Ubisoft story, we're going to have a couple today. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is getting newly announced Saudi Arabia DLC that is free, mind you. Will not be a paid DLC. Anyway, Ubisoft employees are concerned about it because it was paid for by the government of Saudi Arabia, essentially. So, it was first reported in January by French financial newspaper L'Echo's, and that the DLC had received funding from Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. So, even though it's not directly the government, it's essentially the Saudi government. Ubisoft has yet to fully respond to comment or anything like that. That DLC was, of course, announced last month, and that it would be it'd be free, and you would play Basim visiting Alula, that is a ancient history site in Saudi Arabia. That's also one of their cultural highlights that they kind of use to entice people to visit. And GameFile has now published an internal Q&A that Ubisoft did, and they were asked about it and things like that. And obviously, the Saudi government's formal atrocities have come up. I say that lightly. Well, no, not lightly, actually. And management responded that I guess Yves Guillemot, the head of Ubisoft, visited Saudi Arabia as part of a delegation with French President Emmanuel Macron, and they kind of went. They just went to get money, I guess. So, who knows? It just, the timing of it all was very strange. Yves also gave a speech at an event there. I can understand why Ubisoft employees are cautious, especially at a time when Ubisoft is facing financial questions from all sides and all angles. Battlefield 6 is drawing some criticism, which hasn't been the case for the last few weeks since the beta has happened. But one of the developers made a joke that is not sitting necessarily right with all players. So, essentially, one of the devs had made a comment. They were being interviewed by IGN. They made a comment about being console first with Battlefield 6. That has, of course, spooked some PC players and has reignited the console PC feud that's been somewhat dormant for the last few years. Obviously, because I don't see PC Master Race memes so much anymore, but obviously players are concerned on PC because if development has shifted towards console, the PC experience might falter and not be as good. I.e., look what's going on with Borderlands, and it's created a whole conversation. Now, I know a lot of people say shooters on PC are better, mouse and keyboard, all that jazz. But, is this really something that really needs to be reignited right now? I really don't think that it's beneficial to the gaming community for people to just, to say something like that, because it's going to push people off your game, right? So we'll see ultimately what happens when the game does release. Call of Duty, I don't know, man. Who knows? Let's move on. So Nintendo had a Direct on Friday, and they announced quite a bit, actually. So one of those things being Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is releasing in February. So that was announced. Metroid Prime 4 got a new trailer with a release date. It will come out on December. Where's the date? December 12th? December 4th, sorry. Metroid Prime 4 is finally coming out, and it is out in December. A new Fire Emblem was announced, which people are very excited for. That is set to release sometime next year. That's what they ended the show with. Donkey Kong Bonanza, DK Island, and Emerald Rush DLC is now out. And it's kind of like a roguelike for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Pokemon Pokopia was announced, which is somewhat like Animal Crossing, but for Pokemon. And you play as a Ditto masquerading as a person. And it looks like Minecraft too, but Ditto masquerading as a person has a lot of issues. And we already had that happen in the Detective Pikachu movie, and people were rightfully freaked the fuck out by it. And I have so many questions that they would do this officially in a game as well. Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 are getting a new bundle with new amiibo that have already sold out. That will be releasing on the Switch on October 2nd, both physically and digitally, which ties into the fact that we finally got a teaser trailer for the next Super Mario Brothers movie, which is officially called the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And I was having a conversation with my friends, like, why would they skip, Super Mario Sunshine? But then it occurred to me, like, oh, that could be a perfect third movie. Like, they've saved the world twice. Now it's time for vacation, right? But yes, the next Super Mario Brothers movie, which is out in April, and we're only getting a teaser now, will be the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Most of the cast is returning. No other cast announcements were made as of now. We also learned about Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is a new Yoshi game that is coming out in the spring. It almost looks like a Paper Mario type Yoshi game. We also got an announcement that Virtual Boy is coming back, as Virtual Boy will be hitting the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, but you have to buy this standalone Virtual Boy recreation that you essentially stick your Switch in for $100 to play these games, or buy a cardboard version for $25, which is essentially just Nintendo Labo again. It's the only way you can play allegedly these Switch versions of Virtual Boy games. Like, are you fucking kidding me, Nintendo? This is the worst money grab I've seen you guys do in a long time. This is pretty fucking sad. Just saying. Just saying. We got a new trailer for Pokemon Legends ZA, which we're going to talk about in a second. I want to talk about some other things first. Super Mario Wonder is getting a Nintendo Switch 2 edition with added DLC Meetup and Bella Bell Park. That's coming out in the spring with new multiplayer options. Mario Tennis Fever announced and will launch in February. We also got the 40th anniversary of the release of Super Mario Brothers. And they're going to be celebrating it somehow. So far, we only know of a new museum installation at the Nintendo Museum in Kyoto. And it's a 40th anniversary ticket and a special light display in December. And they're also sponsoring the Kyoto Marathon in February. Really? That's all you're doing for Mario's 40th? You go all out for Pokemon. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment will get new DLC and things like that. Oh no, the game comes out in November. We got a new trailer for that. Hades 2 is finally getting its official 1.0 release on Switch 2 only on September 25th. Physically on November 12th, and it will be a Switch 2 exclusive for a time being for physical release and 1.0 release. Resident Evil Requiem got a new trailer and a Switch 2 release date when the game comes out. Kirby Air Riders has 2 new amiibos announced. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is heading to Switch on January 22nd on Switch 2. Funnily enough, it also comes out on Xbox that day. We'll talk about that in a bit. Tamagotchi Life Living Dreams is a new game where you can play as Mii characters. Like I said, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. Stardew Valley is getting a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, which with added mouse controls, co-op, and more. Overcooked 2 is getting a Switch edition. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 is getting Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Human Fall Flat is coming out on the Switch 2. Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection was announced, and that comes out in March. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection got Switch release dates as well as a trailer. Dynasty Warriors Origins is heading to Switch 2 in January. Suika game is coming. Storm Lancers is a new indie game that looks really fun. Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly Remake was announced. Power Wash Simulator 2 is heading to Nintendo Switch 2. And then Danganronpa 2x2 was announced as a new version of Danganronpa 2 for the Switch. A new game called Color Plays, a new indie game. Linked Banner of the Spark is a new indie game. Dinkum is a new minigame as well. EA Sports FC 26, Little Nightmares 3, Persona 3 Reload, Lego Voyagers, Disagia 7 Complete, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD2 Remake, Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage, and 2 Point Museum are all headed to the Switch 2 as well. So that was everything announced. Let's go back to Pokemon. Now, we got what they're calling the final trailer for Pokemon Legends ZA. In it, we learned about some new megas. We are getting megas for all the Kalos starters, and new DLC was announced, which will include Mega Raichu X and Mega Raichu Y. Now, here's where people are getting very, very upset. 5 megas are essentially all behind a paywall. You have to buy the DLC, which is $30, to get Mega Raichu X and Mega Raichu Y, which look like their respective letters. And yeah. So unless other megas are coming with it, which was kind of teased, because there's a bunch of mega stones people have never seen shown off in this trailer, then I can maybe understand the justification for that. Not necessarily. There shouldn't be megas hidden or behind a paywall in general. People are very upset about that. And the fact that you can pre-order the DLC the day the game comes out, like, that's strange. And then people are also extremely upset because to get the Kalos starter megas, you have to play the online battle mechanic for Pokemon Legends ZA. You can't just get the stones through normal gameplay. You have to play the online component, which requires a Nintendo Switch Online subscription. So, in essence, to get all the megas in a Pokemon game coming out, you're going to end up spending well over $100. Because you have to rank up to a certain rank that they haven't announced, so we have no idea how much gameplay will be involved online to earn these Mega Stones. It's ridiculous that they would do this. And again, this is just Nintendo being a little anti-consumer, which they've been for quite a while, but now it's coming out more and more. People are getting more and more frustrated with the pricing structure Nintendo has put in place. Remember, they were the first to throw down the gauntlet for the $80 games. It's worked out in their favor because most people criticize Nintendo and then turn around and just pay for it anyway because they're all shills. That's the wrong word. People will just do whatever it takes for Nintendo regardless of their opinions or their feelings because it's Nintendo. I don't give a shit who it is. Don't let them get away with this bullshit. Nintendo has enough money. This is a story, multiple stories. I've read this multiple times. Nintendo has enough cash in their coffers that if they were to stop selling Switches and games and whatever today, they would still have enough money in their accounts to run the company for another like 50 years and not sell another product to anyone. Yet they're pulling this bullshit. And especially with Pokemon, where kids and shit are gonna beg their parents for it, and adults and things like that. Like that's a little fucking ridiculous. They should be in the base game, realistically. Both the Kalos starters and the Megas for the Kalos starters and the Mega Raichus. It's not the first time they've done this either. They were putting all that shit with the last few games where certain legendary Pokemon were locked behind the online component. I don't remember if you needed a Switch online component for that, though, so it's a little different. Wait, no, it is different with those legendaries, because people could catch those and trade them away to other people without issue. You can't trade Mega Stones at all. So in the past, even if those legendaries were locked to online play or things like that, you could still get them without too much consternation, right? You could trade away in the World Bank or whatever the hell the trade system was called at the time. But with these, you can't trade items like that, like the Mega Stones. So it's like you legitimately have to pay for the Nintendo Online or Switch Online or whatever the hell they want to call it, and grind for X amount of time just to earn Mega Stones for the Kalos starters. This is what gaming is turning into in general. Other developers and publishers are watching Nintendo, and they're seeing everyone just fold and ultimately pay for these things, so they think they can get away with it. Microsoft got bullied out of it somehow. Well, temporarily, realistically. Not long term. But, again, Nintendo and other developers and publishers are going to do this if nobody says no. But no one's going to say no. Because, again, it's Nintendo and Pokemon. And they're just going to keep fucking doing it. It's really fucking ridiculous. Really is. Let's move on to other ridiculous things. And Borderlands 4, which is out now. And people... Oh, God. It's already been accused of using spyware. It's already been accused of other nonsense things. What is it? Randy. Oh, God. Randy Pitchford already said to someone, quote, "Code your own engine and show us how it's done," unquote. Like, really, dude? Really? I also saw a thing, though, where he is offering technical support to people online. Yeah, the Borderlands launch is fun. Then I'm also seeing they're telling people, yeah, just go, reboot the game because performance will start to drag on consoles and things. Like, what? Why isn't this game, like, set to go? Oh, God. Randy also then opened his mouth and said, quote, "My advice to users to accept reality and tune or not to play." Randy, unquote, or get a refund from Steam. Dude. Oh, God. This is just typical Borderlands nonsense. Typical Borderlands nonsense. I think it's all hilarious, personally. They even said performance gets worse the longer you play on console. They said quit the game and restart as a workaround. What? What? I hope y'all are having fun with your Borderlands. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Man. Borderlands 4. So we said during the Nintendo Direct that Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming to Switch 2 in January. Well, it's coming to Xbox Series X and S on the same day, January 22nd. Some pre-orders, though, will come with the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy cards that recently released. So that's cool. 5 year. Also, the game is coming out 6 years after it launched on PlayStation 4, by the way. A digital limited early purchase bonus will be available until January 31st, which will grant you access to the original Final Fantasy game at no extra charge. If you pre-order on Xbox, you're able to play it instantly. The Switch 2 version will not be available until January 22nd, though. Strangely. There's also a unique offer that if you pre-order a physical version of the game for Switch 2, you will get Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy Play Booster. So there you go. There's also new progression settings in this new version of Intergrade, which will either allow you to get through the game faster by using HP that is always full, magic points that are always full, limit gauge that is always full, ATB gauge that is always full, and 9,999 damage for every attack. So that way, if you want to just speed through, you are able to. They're going to add that to the PS4 version. Anyway. Also from Nintendo, we've learned. So Nintendo likes to give things away at exclusive events. And they recently launched their Nintendo Today app. Well, the Nintendo Today app has a feature that can use inaudible sound wave signal software to verify if you are in attendance at said events to actually unlock the exclusive giveaways. So that's interesting and dangerous. So as long as it works the way it's intended and it's not stolen for nefarious purposes. But yes. More indie drama with the release of Hollow Knight Silksong. And it's not good, personally, in my opinion. But the creative director of a new game called Hell Is Us, which happened to launch on the same day as Hollow Knight Silksong, is not very happy with Team Cherry. And look, just don't be mad about another game releasing on yours. I understand it's going to take the sales out from under your game, but if your game is good enough, it will do fine. He said, quote, as the GTA 6 of indie, to shadow drop something like this is a little callous. Emails and texts and messages back and forth between a lot of people between us and our publisher. It was a real thing. We decided to keep the date, and I'm happy that we did, unquote. That is from Jacques Bellatet, who is the, like I said, the creative director of Hell Is Us. But he also said, quote, we're still much bigger than some of the smaller ones who would have gotten a lot more affected and who decided to change their dates. Changing the date of Hell Is Us would have been a pretty big endeavor. The real pain in the ass is that you have to refund your pre-orders when you do that, right? That's the real, how are you going to do this? Now you need to rebuild them. We didn't say, oh my God, we have to do it, but we can't because of that. We were like, no, I think we can get through the storm, unquote. Again, I don't think it's callous. It's just people make business decisions what's best for them. They're not always thinking everyone's going to get out of Grand Theft Auto 6's way, because Grand Theft Auto 6, I think, transcends like every video game fan. That's a video game where people who only maybe buy one or two games a year, that's going to be one of those games. Silksong is going to be for a select niche. Hell Is Us is going to be for select niche. I don't think they cross over as much as maybe people might think. But who knows? We're not here to debate any of that. Well, the gaming beef of the console wars of the 90s has been temporarily reignited between former enemies, now friends. What will be the response? Sega has put out a new ad for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which essentially calls out, Mario Kart World. It just reminds me of the old Sega does what Nintendo don't, and it. Why can't we get more ads like this? Why can't more ad agencies be like this nowadays? Like it's just fun, playful banter. It's what we need. It's fun. It's not egregious. It's not aggressive. It's not edgy. It's just good, lighthearted, poking fun at your technically competitor. But even though we know the game is going to come out on Switch because Sega doesn't make consoles anymore, but like these are things that I miss. It's things that I miss. How would you guys feel if the Elder Scrolls Online was around for 30 years? How do you feel about that? Because the developers behind the game think that it could potentially go that long. It's already been out for 11. What's another 20, right? So it's really funny because IGN sat down with Nick Giacomini, who is the game director for Elder Scrolls Online, took over from Rich Lambert, as Rich Lambert has been promoted to studio-wide director. Nick thinks that they can get the game going for another 20. He's already been working on the game for 18 years, from when the game started development up until it eventually released. So they also feel that it's scratching the Elder Scrolls itch as everyone waits for Elder Scrolls 6 to release. So we'll see how that goes. Skate has launched, and people are facing long wait times on the servers. No surprise there. So, is it the official release? But, people are not happy with how it looks. That's, people are having fun with it, though. The ragdoll mechanics are something that people always loved about Skate. It is an early access release, so it's not the final release because people have problems with it. But I'm sure, hopefully, EA will take all these to heart and use that to build the game out more and more. One of the big stories we were going to talk about was the Mass Effect television show, which is expected to start filming in the future. Well, casting calls have gone out for the show. So, as of right now, they are looking... We don't know what roles these are for. They're looking for a male star aged 30 to 39, described as, quote, young Colin Farrell type, with a female co-lead aged 34 to 39 that is an alien character requiring prosthetics. Liar Tassoni. Sorry, what? And Commander Shepard. Oh man, I don't know what crazy roles they're looking for. Other roles are looking for a female character aged 30 to 49 who will provide a parallel narrative from Earth. Interesting. A role described as the lead male villain asks for a Doug Jones-like actor aged 40 to 60, with a fifth character will be male aged 30 to 49, described as a wrestler-like soldier. Interesting. I think one of those is Garrus. But they've been posted online. Insider Daniel Richmond caught it. But this is interesting. People are like, oh, so does this just mean that male Shepard is canon now? Which I guess Fem Shep was canon before? I don't know. So Amazon hasn't released anything else. BioWare's, of course, working on Mass Effect 5, so they're not going to say anything. We don't know anything about this show, really, other than now they're starting to cast. So there you go. Our second Ubisoft story. People are upset about the not officially announced Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag remake. It's just an open secret at this point, I think. Everybody knows about it, even though Ubisoft just hasn't said anything. But French outlet Jeux Video is claiming that all modern-day sections from Assassin's Creed Black 4... Assassin's Creed Black 4... What am I saying? Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag have been cut out. This game is set to launch sometime next year. And essentially they're adding extra content to the game, where you play as Edward Kenway, to make up for all the lost modern time story play. So, they're going to give Mary Reed some new stuff allegedly as well. Overhauled combat and gear systems that will act closer to modern Assassin's Creed games. But what a lot of people have an issue with is don't cut the modern day storyline, which Assassin's Creed games have slowly been cutting over the last few releases. And I understand why. It now that Desmond is gone, it falls a lot flatter. People don't like or didn't like Layla's story. There isn't a modern day one at all in Shadows, like zero. But the thing with Black Flag is that it kind of all tied to, it bridged the gap between like Desmond's story and then the story we ended up getting in Origins and Valhalla and Odyssey and things like that. So cutting it, and here's my thing, it's like, is it really a remake if you cut out a major part of the story? Because that's also ties into the story and gameplay. There's literally a story element of a character, the Muse, right? I don't remember totally. There's a character who exists in the past, and then you catch up and fight them or whatever in the modern day. Like, how do you cut that out? What are you doing, Ubisoft? Stick to what made Assassin's Creed great, all right? The Sage, that's the character. But, like, it literally, that's how the game ties up its narrative in the modern day. And I saw they were pulling some quotes, like someone's like, that's the whole point of Assassin's Creed, is you are in the Animus, you are in a simulation. Like, we're kind of losing that a bit, which part of me agrees with and part of me doesn't. It's like, okay, yes, I understand you're always going into the Animus, but at the same time, it's like you're also just playing this game in the past and you're being told a story. Regardless, I like the modern day stuff for the most part. I do not want to see it ditched in reality in any of the games. Hell, it's a huge part of Basim's story, even in Assassin's Creed Mirage. So, like, I don't understand why they didn't do it at all in Shadows. I get that they kind of, that's where Black Flag kind of sets up the point where you don't necessarily need to do, you don't need the actual person to dive into their ancestors' memories anymore, right? And that kind of sets the future and how Origins and Odyssey and Valhalla work. But why ditch it completely? It's integral to the story. But anyway, we may have finally figured out what the pricing is for the Xbox ROG Ally. Destin Legary of the YouTube channel Destin, who used to be an IGN employee as well. He used to be on one of the few podcasts I listened to. Well, he decided to just call up his local Best Buy. Remember, this thing launches in just over a month. He called up a Best Buy and asked them what the prices would be. Now, this is no official pricing, right? But apparently this Best Buy told him that the lower end version would cost $549.99 and $899.99 for the higher end model, which again could just be quoting the regular ROG Ally pricing. But this Best Buy also said that they would get demo stations for the Xbox version, and was sent images by an anonymous source who took pictures of them at a Tennessee store. But it's just an RGB-laden kiosk with ROG Xbox Ally in the middle. Nothing really proving that it's an Xbox version. Another image showed a picture of the $899 price tag, but again, no official pricing, and it's due out on October 16th. So actually just a month. So we still don't know what the pricing is on those things. Anyway, that is it for gaming news. Let's head on up the 5 freeway and see what's going on in Hollywood, shall we? All right, the HBO Max situation is getting a little easier for now, as David Zaslav has explained why they are not cracking down on passwords. Yes, I know there's rumor that Paramount Global is now looking to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. Until any of that actually becomes true or an offer is actually submitted, we're not going to talk about it. That's just a ridiculous thing. They literally just got bought by whatever. It's consolidation. Anyway, HBO Max is not planning on cracking down on password sharing anytime soon. During an appearance at the Goldman Sachs Communicopia and Technology Conference, of all places, Zaslav said, quote, "We haven't been pushing on the password sharing and the economics yet. People are really starting to love HBO Max. That's the key. We want them to fall in love with our content, with our series, with the differentiated offering outside the US. And then over time, it's a little tricky with the password sharing. We're going to begin to push on that. I think our ability to raise price as people become more and more in love with the quality that we have and the series that we have and the offering that we have will have a real ability, because I think the pricing across the board not only is there too many players in order to stay alive, a lot of the players have just decided to drop prices aggressively. Consumers in America would pay twice as much 10 years ago for content. People were spending, on average, $55 for content 10 years ago, and the quality of the content, the amount of content that we're getting, the spend is 10 or 12-fold, and they're paying dramatically less. I think we want a good deal for consumers, but I think over time there's a real opportunity, particularly for us in that quality area, to raise price." Unquote. All right. I liked what you were saying, and then I didn't like what you were saying. We're paying exponentially more for less. I don't know what you're thinking there, David. There isn't more money. There isn't more content out there for less money right now. Are you fucking kidding me? Across all the streaming platforms, on average, if you have all of them, you're paying more than what you would for fucking cable right now. That's a ridiculous thing to say, that they're dropping prices. Who the fuck have dropped their prices on their streaming? Paramount Plus is about to get way more expensive if you're not already grandfathered in because of the UFC deal. ESPN Plus, or whatever the fuck they're doing, is about to get exponentially more expensive because they're launching ESPN standalone. Right? Peacock just raised their prices. Netflix continues to raise their prices. Hulu has raised their... Well, Hulu's technically going away and getting blended in with Disney Plus. Disney Plus prices have gone up. I don't even have some of these other ones. Where the fuck do you get off saying that people are paying less than 10 years ago? Who's paying... First off, for $55, I can't even get all the streaming services. Like, what? Then, if you want to have live TV plus streaming services, Oh, let's not forget Amazon Prime Video, which is like $15 a month now. Are you fucking kidding me? Plus Apple TV? Get the hell off your high fucking horse. This is why I don't like Zaslav. This is why a lot of fucking people don't like Zaslav. Oh, we're being nice. We're not going to crack down on password sharing until we raise our fucking prices. Are you shitting me? No one's... Ugh. Exactly. They're not going to crack down on it until they charge more where people don't want to fucking pay for it. That's what he knows what he's saying, but he's not being... He's calling it out in a different way that sounds even more fucking greedier. The spend is 10 or 12 fold and they're paying dramatically less. We're not paying dramatically less. It's because we got rid of ads. It's because of the streaming bullshit. People aren't sitting for appointment TV anymore. With TiVo, people fast forwarded through the ad revenue. The spend isn't more. Okay, yes, it might be more in terms of what it costs to develop these things, but you're also putting out a lot of fucking trash. I'm looking at you, Netflix. And I'm looking at you, Peacock. Both of you. You put out a lot of garbage. There's a lot of good, too, but you have way more garbage on there than anything. It's ridiculous that they want to more nickel and dime us. Why the fuck did we get rid of cable? At this point, we're back to fucking cable. At triple, quadruple the fucking price. The quality. Not everything you guys put out is high quality. Yeah, you're spending a lot of money on it, but not all of it is high quality. HBO, you're not winning Emmys like you used to. You have much more serious competition than you used to. This is asinine to say. Look at this. I was like, oh, look at HBO. They're not. What are you gonna do when people have HBO through their cable subscriptions that are like all fucking remote? Like me, I've YouTube TV. YouTube TV allows you to watch in different households and have different accounts. Like I have HBO through that. How are you gonna crack down on that one, huh? It makes no fucking sense anymore, dude. It makes zero fucking sense. Plus the cost of if you have like YouTube TV or Hulu with live television or the other ones. It's getting out of fucking hand is what it is. All for what? For them to drone out content, take shit off from their backlogs. That is the whole point of having some of these services. Lost the plot. We have lost the fucking plot. And I'm over it. I'm fucking over a lot of it, dude. I don't know. Mark Hamill. I'm surprised this story didn't come out a decade ago when The Force Awakens came out. Yeah, I know. That's right. The Force Awakens came out 10 years ago. Put that in perspective. Mark Hamill obviously doing promotional work for The Long Walk, which he is not in as much as you might think he might have been. He really considered not doing the sequels. He really thought that it wouldn't work. Speaking of The Hollywood Reporter, he told him, quote, "I had real reservations about coming back. I thought it would be a mistake. You can't catch lightning in a bottle twice. They should really focus on a new generation of characters." And I thought, well, Harrison is not going to do it anyway. You could see his irritation with constantly having to talk about Han Solo. Once I saw in the press that he had accepted, I felt like I had been drafted because if I'm the only one who says no, I'll be the most hated man in nerddom, unquote. So there you go. I mean, he's not wrong. Ultimately, they didn't capture lightning in a bottle twice. That was painfully fucking obvious. But he also talked about why he did The Mandalorian, saying, quote, "The reason I did Mandalorian was that Luke had a beginning and an end. There was no middle. It was like making a trilogy about James Bond as a young boy who first became aware of the Secret Service and wanted to be a part of it. Part 2 was him training to be an agent. Part 3 is his earning the license to kill, the end. No From Russia with Love, no Dr. No, or Goldfinger. You never get to see Luke as a Master Jedi at the peak of his powers," unquote. I like that. I like that idea. He went on to talk a little bit more about that, but Yeah, I don't blame you there, Mark. You were the best part of the sequels. Don't get me wrong. So was Harrison. I particularly love The Last Jedi. I know I've said that a million times, but anyway, Netflix has announced a new animated show with Ricky Gervais that was created by him. He will be starring in it as well. But the show is called Alley Cats. It's an adult animated program. It will premiere sometime next year. Gervais will star in the show. It is an order for 6 15-minute episodes. Will also star Tom Basden, Andrew Brooke, David Earl, Carrie Goodleman, Joe Hartley, Diane Morgan, Natalie Cassidy, and Tony Way. So yeah, it's 2D animation. Blink Industries is making it. They worked on the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared and Dead End Paranormal Park. The show synopsis is, quote, follows the trials and tribulations of a group of feral British cats from all walks of society who seek companionship while ruminating on everyday life. Unquote. What? Feral cats? Interesting. Gervais said, quote, I play a fat, lazy, rude, opinionated creature with fangs who's not as smart or as brave as he thinks he is. So, yeah, unquote. That's Ricky Gervais. The Highlander reboot movie has been delayed as Henry Cavill has injured himself while training for the role. Deadline is reporting that during pre-production, this injury occurred. So full production has been delayed to early next year. But we don't know what happened. But Hollywood Reporter reported that the film was supposed to go into principal photography this month. So they were going to start filming and shooting this month, heading towards production in the coming weeks. But now that's been delayed due to the injury. So that's unfortunate. That'll be interesting. Speaking of Henry Cavill, a show he used to be on, The Witcher, has released a trailer showing off the Liam Hemsworth taking over for Geralt. And we've learned that the new season will premiere on October 30th on Netflix. It just, he looks decent as Geralt. I'll say that. He's not Henry Cavill though. It's not the same. The Emmys were this weekend, and some big winners, surprising winners, if you ask me. But let's go over them. Outstanding Comedy Series, The Studio. No surprise there. Thank you, Sal Saperstein. Literally one of the best shows ever made in like a while. Still don't understand why The Bear is put in the comedy series. I get the first season, and I get there's stuff in there, but that's like officially a drama now. The Pit, of all things, won Outstanding Drama Series. Very surprising. You know, I have a special place in my heart for Andor, and I think a lot of people do as well. And I think, I don't know if it would have won, but again, Adolescence just dominated the show. Won for Outstanding Limited or Anthology Series. People really thought the Penguin had a shot there. Outstanding Reality Competition Program, The Traitors. Again, I don't watch half of that stuff, so I have no idea. New Outstanding Talk Show Series, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And oh wait, no, that's been given out for 10 years. Anyway, last week Tonight is no longer in that category, so obviously it gives a chance to the other hosts. Last Week Tonight is now with Outstanding Scripted Variety Series for some reason, and that won. No surprise there. That has won every year it's been on TV. Outstanding Variety Special, though, went to the Saturday Night Live 50th Anniversary Special, which very well deserving. It beat out the halftime show for the Super Bowl, the Oscars, and the SNL 50 Homecoming Concert, which I would have given it to realistically. In acting, Outstanding lead actor in a comedy series went to Seth Rogen. No surprise. No surprise at all, really. Lead actress in a comedy series went to Jean Smart. Again, no surprise there. Outstanding lead actor in a drama series went to Noah Wiley for The Pit. The Pit did very well, too. That show came out of nowhere. I don't particularly like medical dramas, so I've never seen it. I haven't watched Severance. I know I'm behind on that. I haven't watched Paradise. I know that's a good show. Slow Horses got some nominations. You know how I feel about The Last of Us. Outstanding lead actress in a drama series, Britt Lower for Severance, which beat out some great people as well. Outstanding lead actor in a limited or anthology series, Stephen Graham beat out Colin Farrell, which I was kind of surprised by. I think that was one that was an upset. Outstanding lead actress in a limited or anthology series, Christina Milioti for The Penguin. Well-deserved, no shock there. Everyone loved that. Where there was an upset, and Sal Saperstein should have won here, Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series. Jeff Hiller won for Somebody Somewhere, which people thought would either be Ike Barinholtz again for The Studio, or Coleman Domingo, or Harrison Ford, really. Harrison Ford was the number one on that, and he did not win. Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series went to Hannah Einbinder, her first win, and for Hacks. That is well-deserved. Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series went to Tremel Tillman for Severance. That's a solid win. I don't think his competition was that great. Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series. This is where people were shocked as well. Catherine Lanasa won for The Pit. Again, The Pit did well. Adolescence did well. These are things people did not expect to wrap up, and they did. Let's move on here. Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Limited or Anthology Series, Owen Cooper for Adolescence. Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Limited or Anthology Series or Movie, Erin Doherty for Adolescence. Look, see? Adolescence, just wrapping it up. Directing, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg won for the Oneer, the best episode of The Studio, in my opinion. Outstanding Director for a Drama Series, Slow Horses, Adam Randall. So there was that. There was, let's see, Outstanding Directing for a Limited or Anthology Series or Movie, Adolescence, Philip Barantini. Writing, The Studio for the episode The Promotion. Andor won for Outstanding Writing for a Drama Series. It won 5 awards total, so that was a solid win. Outstanding Writing for a Limited or Anthology Series or Movie, Adolescence. Outstanding Writing for a Variety Series, Last Week Tonight. No surprise there. Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen won the Bob Hope Humanitarian Award. The most wins went to The Studio, which it's the first comedy to win like everything essentially in its first season, which is nuts. The Penguin with 9, Adolescence, Severance, and Saturday Night Live 50th Anniversary Special with 8. Andor, The Pit, and Traitors with 5. Arcane won 4. The Boys won 3. Pee-wee as himself won. Okay, I said HBO and HBO Max weren't winning as much. They had the most, as usual, nominations and wins. They had 142 nominations and 30 wins. But Netflix is right behind them with 30 wins as well. Apple TV was the second highest. Nate Bargatze as the host, hilarious. His bit with the donation for the Boys and Girls Club was great. It was hilarious, though. I think it was great to see. I think it was a great show. It was actually the most watched in like 4 years or something like that. So if you ask me, it was a solid Emmys, and can't wait to see where things go. We also lost an acting legend this week. Robert Redford passed away at the age of 89 at his home in Utah. And just amazing actor. He started the Sundance Film Festival, which they're moving, right? I mean, it's fitting now that he's passed as well. Redford, known for so many movies, is gone. Game of Thrones updates. The head of HBO, Casey Bloys, has finally given us a release window for Game of Thrones spin-off shows. So we're finally, speaking to Variety, we finally know when A Night of the Seven Kingdoms will launch, which was expected to premiere sometime this year, has been pushed to January, so we won't have to wait too long for that new show, which is set between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. So we've been waiting for that for quite a while. A dunk and egg, essentially, is what that's about. And then House of the Dragon Season 3, which is in production, is set for summer of next year. In a separate interview with Deadline, Bloys suggested June. So that's right. We're getting 2 Game of Thrones series in 1 year, which is nice because we've had a bit of a drought. In a marketing show, of all things, that took place, I think, in China, which, again, why in China? The Showcase Expo in China, Disney put on a light show that showed off. We finally get to see what Doctor Doom's outfit looks like officially in Avengers Doomsday. And they showed off like a light experience of Doom holding a skeleton, which is taken directly out of the Secret Wars comics, where Doom like punches Thanos, turns him to dust, and like crushes his spine. Yeah, it's dark. But we don't know who it is. We think the nerd world thinks it's Thanos, because obviously fitting the comics. I've seen speculation that it might even be Kang or some other galactic level threat. But since Thanos is already dead, given this is a multiverse movie, it could be King Thanos as well, who we're getting in the Avengers ride that's coming to Disneyland sometime in the near future. But again, we don't know who it is. I heard principal photography is supposed to wrap up soon, leaving post-production to be for almost a year. So we'll see how that goes. Matt Reeves says that he's sorry it's taken so long for the Batman Part 2. But in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter at the Emmys, he said, quote, "It's been a journey that is taking longer than I would have wanted for a lot of reasons, a lot of personal reasons. But the most important reason is getting it to a place where I just felt like it was the best script we could possibly write. We're getting ready. We're basically entering prep. We'll be making the movie in the spring," unquote. So that's cool. He was asked about a villain, and I saw a quote saying it's not someone that's been seen on screen before. So that some people thought it would be Clayface, but I think James Gunn is going to take Clayface for himself in the DCU. I remember speculating on where a potential sequel could go, and I think Hush or Court of Owls would be best for the Batman universe that they've set up in that universe. I think Hush would be ideal, but Court of Owls would be a good follow-up as well. Speaking of DC movies, Superman has finally concluded its run in theaters. It drops on HBO Max on Friday, if you've been waiting to watch it. And here's something I thought I would never, ever say, and I think is also very fucking stupid, and is clearly meant to just take money from you. Warner Brothers is opening a Central Perk in Times Square, of all places. It's opening this fall on the corner of 47th Street and 7th Ave. It will be the second permanent branch of Central Perk, one that is now opening in New York. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, if you ever watched Friends, they always met at the coffee shop Central Perk. Central Perk opened their first branch in Boston 2 years ago, and it's going to be an upscale coffee place, sell food. Top Chef Judge and James Beard Award finalist Tom Colicchio will be curating a menu of drinks and food items inspired by the series that will be available for purchase. It will also have a shop that people can buy Friends merch as well. And it's going to be like gentrified. What the fuck, dude? Jesus. The next episode of South Park has been delayed. Creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker have issued a statement saying, quote, "Apparently when you do everything at the last minute, sometimes you don't get it done. This one's on us. We didn't get it done in time. Thanks to Comedy Central and South Park fans for being so understanding. Tune in next week," unquote. And that's via Variety. That's how they've been so on point this year, realistically. Amy Poehler is calling out the Oscars for not giving an award to comedies, and I agree. I very much agree. On her podcast, Good Hang with Amy, she was speaking with Olivia Colman, who is in the upcoming film The Roses, which is a remake of The War of the Roses. Which I guess during the podcast, Coleman called Cumberbatch that he said, quote, "If you can do comedy, you can do anything. I really do believe that," unquote. Amy Poehler agreed with it, which her following up saying, quote, "Every single year at the Oscars, everybody in comedy gets blanked and all the serious people get up and accept. It's some hot bullshit because comedy is not easy," unquote. She also went on to say, quote, "And I got to tell you, both you and Olivia can do both," unquote. And I agree with her. Comedy has never been really rewarded at the Oscars, ever. It's asinine to me that these actors go out and do something that not every actor can do, right? Not every actor can do comedy, and not every actor can do drama. Drama is a little easier, but I mean, look at Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell. They've both done very good drama stuff. But not everyone can do comedy. Comedy is about timing and landing punches, their punchlines, and doing things in a certain way that will actually get people to laugh, to elicit a reaction. I think comedy should be rewarded. I think it's nonsense that they're not included for Best Actor or anything like that. Yes, there's a lot of bargain bin comedies and comedies that are just churned out. But there are really great comedy films as well that deserve to be nominated sometimes. And it's unfortunate that people get shafted. Like Anchorman is a prime example, right? Will Ferrell definitely could have been up there for Best Actor, in my opinion. But this is 2025, and I doubt we're ever getting a comedy option at the Oscars. Today, speaking of comedies, today we got our first trailer for the Anaconda reboot, starring Jack Black and Paul Rudd, which is very meta. Steve Zahn's in it too, and Tandy Newton. But Paul Rudd and Jack Black's characters want to remake Anaconda in the movie. The trailer is hilarious. And it's kind of putting that like comedy spin that they did kind of with Jumanji. I'm all for it, because I love that stupid old Anaconda movie from the 90s with J-Lo and Ice Cube. It's a dumb movie, but I love it. I love it so much. This movie looks great. And the snake's even bigger. And it looks just like a fucking romp. And I'm here for it. Halle Berry might be in Doomsday if Alan Cumming is to be believed. You know, he's not used to having to keep Marvel secrets. But during an interview with Entertainment Tonight, he's the host of Traders, the show that won the reality competition show, was asked if Halle Berry would return for Avengers Doomsday, saying, quote, "Well, maybe she does, but honestly, I'm the last person to ask," unquote. He added very quickly right after. And remember, he did all his acting in a green screen alone, so we don't know how true that is. We know what Joseph Kosinski's next movie will be, the director of Top Gun Maverick and F1, will be directing a Miami Vice reboot, the second now, which is expected to be released on August 6th, 2027. Now here's a story that broke just before recording. We've learned that it's time to start the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to get things started on the Muppet Show tonight, because Seth Rogen is getting the Muppet Show back in a new special on Disney Plus next year, starring Sabrina Carpenter as well. It's funny that it's Seth Rogen now, when a couple years ago it was Jason Segel. But the Muppet Show will return next year as a Disney Plus special, starring and executive produced by Sabrina Carpenter as well. It will be the 50th anniversary of the original Muppet Show variety series, and it is hoping to serve as a backdoor pilot to bring the show back. Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, James Weaver, Alex McAtee will executive produce the special for Point Grey Pictures. David Lightbody, Lee Slaughter, and Michael Steinbach executive produce for the Muppets Studio. It will see the Muppets return to produce a variety show. Will also hail from 20th Television and Disney-branded television. So Albertina Rizzo will write and executive produce. Alex Timbers will direct and executive produce. Matt Vogel and Eric Jacobson are also executive producers. Longtime Muppet performers Bill Beretta, Dave Goles, Eric Jacobson, Peter Linz, David Rudman, and Matt Vogel will perform most of the Muppetry. Not puppetry, Muppetry. This has me very, very, very excited. I'm stoked on this. I love the Muppets. I think I've said that to you guys many times. So I'm excited to see that. Before we talk about the long walk, I want to talk about some other news that broke this afternoon. ABC has pulled Jimmy Kimmel from the airwaves indefinitely in regards to some comments he made this week. Look, I'm not going to get too deep into things that have been happening the last week here in America. I'm sure most of you fully aware. I'm not going to add my thoughts and feelings to the cacophony of just bullshit online coming from every which way and corner on the internet from people who really shouldn't be talking at all. A lot of people should not be talking on the subject in any way, shape, or form, myself included. But I want to talk about what this means. Look, I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel. I don't really watch any late night show other than Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and I'll watch The Daily Show, really just the Jon Stewart episodes. Like, realistically, I don't watch late night television. I don't care who the host is. I'll watch their clips online. I do not seek out their episodes. I'm fine with Jimmy Fallon. I'm fine with Jimmy Kimmel. I'm fine with Seth Meyers. Like, I watch all of their clips, okay? I care more about the interviews sometimes than their interaction with the guests, more so than I do their monologues. I never watched Jay Leno. I never watched David Letterman. If anything, I watched Conan more than any of them. That's my preface to this thing. What Jimmy Kimmel said on Monday was harmless. Realistically, harmless. Jimmy Kimmel has not said a bad thing since last week about what happened last week at all. If anything, he's been remorseful, he's been empathetic, and everything. What he did on Monday was make a joke. And then, because of whatever he said on Monday, led to some local media companies that own syndication channels, one of which being Nexstar Media, which owns 28 ABC affiliate stations, said that they would preempt Kimmel's airings on their owned networks unless he apologizes via the Hollywood Reporter. Then we also learned that Sinclair Media was pulling it and would air a memorial service instead, and is demanding that he apologize and donate money. That's extreme. This is being called an affiliate revolt. Now we've also learned that the FCC commissioner, Brendan Carr, is not happy and has threatened to pull ABC's broadcast license as well over this matter. This also comes hot off the heels of Nexstar Media's attempt to buy Tenga Media for $6.2 billion. Oh, look, they want regulatory approval. This is where I'm going to make my feelings known. This is the suppression of free speech that everybody's been fucking complaining about for the last decade or so. These are the people. This is what people who complain about legalized comedy, about cancel culture. It's not cancel culture if it's for people you don't like, is what I'm starting to notice. And I'm sure you'll see other people say this. I don't give a flying fuck what you feel about Jimmy Kimmel or what his opinions are or who he votes for or any bullshit like that. This is the fucking start. Okay? This is not okay in any way, shape, or form. He was not disrespectful. He made a joke about the president, maybe, which, again, it's late night television. They've been doing it for fucking decades. Okay? I'm not talking about this administration or the previous one or the other ones before it. They made fun of Bush nightly. Let's be realistic here. This is not okay. He didn't make any defamatory statements. He didn't make any derogatory statements. He didn't make any heinous statements at all. This is not okay. This is a slippery slope. And for the people saying, well, blah, 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 they're going to come for you one day too, if you're not careful. And I know you're like, Nick, you're full of shit. How the fuck do you know any of this? You're some asshole on the internet. And yeah, I am. I'm a blowhard, blowing shit out my ass half the time. And I know that. I have a history degree. All right? And I know that doesn't mean anything necessarily. My final paper I wrote to be able to graduate college with a degree was about the rise in Germany in the 1930s of the party that I don't think I have to name. But I will, the Nazis. This was not just some overnight coup that they did. It was a slow roll. And I'm not saying it's that. I'm not. This shit happened in Italy. It's happened in other extremist regimes. Not necessarily. They don't necessarily have to be fascist. Okay, it happens in communistic regimes. It happens in other dictatorships. China suppressing information and people that speak out. It's happened in Egypt when Mubarak was running things. Okay, I don't give a flying fuck what letter is next to your registration. I don't care. You should be alarmed by what happened today. This is effectively his show being canceled as it's been pulled indefinitely because he made a joke. The same people that are bitching and moaning about him all the time are the same people that say they want to tell jokes, legalize comedy, dark humor, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes for stuff that they don't like it anymore. I'm not trying to take a political side on anything other than the First fucking Amendment. Okay? There is nothing he did that warranted his show being pulled off the air by anyone or the syndicate networks. They didn't like it. One of them is demanding he apologize and fucking pay money and donate. Mind you, there was a host on a major news network who literally just said a heinous, disgusting thing, was not fired. All he did was give a half-ass apology, and he's back on TV the next day. But Jimmy Kimmel makes a joke, and he's gone. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, wake up and think for 1 second and tell me how this is okay. Because remember, a comment was made after Stephen Colbert got fired, which also, not necessarily fired, but early cancellation, that Kimmel would be next. And now we already have certain people saying Fallon and Myers are up on deck. This is not okay in any way, shape, or form. Nothing bad was said this week. And even last week after that horrific event that honestly fucked me up. And I'm sure messed up a lot of people. We're not supposed to see that shit. But Kimmel was empathetic and apologetic and everything and tried to tone down rhetoric. And I'm not pointing fingers at anyone right now. But Kimmel should not be off the air right now at all, regardless of how you feel about him. And again, I don't watch Kimmel. I don't watch late night regularly. One night a week for a show that's only on once a week doesn't count. And I would hardly count John Oliver as late night, realistically. Yeah, it's on late at night, but that's not really a late night show. And The Daily Show hardly counts as a late night show as well. I mean, yes, they fall into that category, so I'm being semantic here, but realistically, this is a ridiculous thing that I even have to fucking talk about. And I just wasted an amount of time, again, adding to just the noise. And they're like, oh, you couldn't just, you don't have to talk about it. No, I have to fucking talk about it because it's a big fucking deal. I talk about entertainment news. Where are all the people that said legalize comedy? They're real fucking quiet right now. Or maybe they just haven't said anything yet. Who knows? It's a really sad fucking thing. And I hope I have better news next week for it. I really do. I really do. Which leads me into The Long Walk. It's based on a novel written by Stephen King that released in 1979. Even though it was actually the first book he ever wrote, he just never released it. It was an allegory for the Vietnam War. Basic premise, sometime after a massive war that decimates the United States, men are recruited or voluntold or something. It's not really set up if they're chosen or if they apply. In the movie, they can apply, but essentially they're put on a walk. You have to keep a pace of 3 miles per hour without stopping. And if you stop, you're given warnings. If you don't heed the warnings and don't make up, essentially you're shot dead. Premise of the movie. My understanding is there's some changes from the book that were made, but it's set in. It seems like it's set in the 70s or early 80s, based on the things going on around the characters in the movie, which is weird because I saw criticism of like they shouldn't have said it in the present day, and I'm like, what? It's not the present day. Regardless, but also The walkers are filmed the entire time as well, broadcast to the nation. It's for the betterment of the country, blah, 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 blah. People are comparing it to the Hunger Games, which is funny because it's directed by Francis Lawrence, who directed like half of the Hunger Games movies. Literally all of, I think he did, oh, sorry. He did all of he did the Hunger Games Catching Fire, Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and is doing the upcoming Sunrise on the Reaping. So, also, this book came out before the Hunger Games. If anything, the Hunger Games is like based on this. Also, has a lot of similarities to The Running Man, which is oddly enough another Stephen King book, of all things. But the film stars Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, who you might have seen in Alien Romulus. Cooper Hoffman is the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Garrett Waring, Tut Nyut, I think I said that right. Charlie Plummer, and Ben Wang, as well as Mark Hamill, and Judy Greer, which I didn't know. Mark Hamill is not in this movie as much as the ads would make you believe either. But anyway, the premise is we're following these young men on their walk. The ultimate winner is granted any wish and is given millions of dollars, presumably, as the United States in this alternate timeline is in a great economic despair. What is essentially, it sounds like a second depression. The character played by Mark Hamill, the Major, is essentially the man in charge of this walk, and it says it encourages people to work. It's very allegorical to today as well. But essentially, we don't go too deep into every character. We only essentially focus on 5 or 6 of the 50 walkers. There's one from every state. And over the course of the movie, we learn about where some of them are from, what their ultimate goal is, what their wish is. And all of them have different motivations for the walk, different reasons for the walk. But the core of the movie focuses on Cooper Hoffman's Ray Garrity and David Johnson's Peter McVries. They essentially become best friends over the walk, which ends up going on almost 400 miles, if I remember correctly what they end up doing. This is a walk that is non-stop. They have to keep the 3-mile pace non-stop. They're given water and rations and things like this. The movie pulls no punches, though, in its showing of just pure human nature. When humans are backed into a corner, we are animals at the end of the day, and how we react. And how we react under pressure and scrutiny and trauma and everything in between. The cinematography is great. Wherever they chose to film, which it looks like it was done in Winnipeg, is beautiful. There's moments of levity that take place between the seriousness and the drama and the intensity, allowing you to have some breaks. This movie does not pull its punches, though, like I said, when it comes to showing the deaths. The first one being the most gruesome, of course. The ones following, sometimes they're out of frame, sometimes they're out of focus, but whenever a major character dies, they make sure to show it in some capacity. This movie is not for those of you with faint of heart, with a weak stomach. There are a lot of graphic imagery in this film, and not just the deaths. And again, going back to what happened last week, I was questioning if I was going to watch this movie. that is not something we're meant to see when it's a real person. And you know, you can be callous and desensitized when you know it's not real, and when it's done for uh, uh, in a movie or a television show. I mean, I've been watching Alien Earth, and that's shown graphic, horrific deaths, and I've become a lot more squeamish than I used to be, and I don't know where that's from. Last week didn't help my psyche at all. That is not, again, that's not something people are supposed to witness, and then to go and watch this movie was not the greatest combination of events. I still enjoyed the movie. I did not personally care for the ending, though. It's rare for a film to do something like that at its climax, at the end of the film. Its culmination it's very rare to subvert audience expectations like that at the end of the movie. And then it goes into this weird song written for the movie that the tonally is just wrong. That is not the type of song you want to play at the end of a movie like that at all. There is a score, but it's very limited, and I think that's good. We're in the moment more than anything with the characters. The crew and everything, I think, had to walk with them. For filming, obviously, they didn't do the entire walk. That would be ridiculous. But the camera is right there with them, or they were driving along. I don't know. But you feel for these people, these characters, this world, despite the fact that you know it's unrealistic to a point that you haven't spent that much time with them. There's elements of them that you can get behind and things like that. Like I said, the cinematography is great. The setting is great. The characters are all well done. I've seen stuff saying Mark Hamill overacted. I'm like, no. I think that's the role he is playing. That is the character he is portraying. He's meant to be like that. And you only get him in snippets. I mean, if it was the whole film like that, I could understand where people would have an issue. But I think everything about the movie is done well, and it makes you feel for these people in a way that you understand why they're doing it and why they wouldn't give up. And their motivations are all different, but all kind of point in the same direction. And we have an idea of what is going on in this world based on their different motivations. So it's good for that in general. This is not a movie, though. If you're expecting, because it's Stephen King, if you're going in expecting a horror movie, you will not get what you are looking for, and you may not enjoy the movie. If you understand what this movie is, you will get a more mileage out of it, for lack of a better term. But this movie is just it is visceral in a way that I don't think I've used it properly. I mean, I've used it properly in the past for other movies, but this is where the actual definition of visceral, if you looked it up in a dictionary, parts of this movie would be there. They do not shy away from anything. And it's a dystopian novel that has been adapted into a dystopian film to the T. And again, like I said, there are allegories to today's modern world, and even something that the thing I was just talking about with Kimmel that you can kind of draw from. And the thing about these movies and what makes them watchable, and I don't want to say enjoyable, because this is not a movie you enjoy. This is a movie that breaks you fucking down. Because it's rooted in realism, but fake enough to know that we would never get there. You would hope. It ended on too much of a happy ending. It's not a happy ending, but it ended on too much of a an ending that could be seen as happy. And I don't want a bleak ending, but I don't want one that kind of wrapped things up that way. It's not a Stephen King type ending, and that's where I think there's been changes made based off what I've read online about the book and things like that. So I don't know if I love or hate the movie. It's made me think and feel things that I don't normally want to think and feel, and that's the thing that gets me. If I had to rate it, I would probably put it at an 8, the ending notwithstanding. But do not go if you have a weak stomach. Do not go late if things like that give you influence your dreams at night. Do not go into that movie if you cannot handle visceral human trauma of any kind, because it does not shy away from that in the slightest, and it shows it's more realistic in its graphic nature, and that's where I'll leave it. That is The Long Walk. I know we talked about some stuff today that I don't like to get into, and I really hope to not talk about it again, because I don't want to.
Since we're in Marvel mode,
I don't want to alienate people, and I know I already will with my comments and statements, because that's just how people are. But what I don't want is that kind of discussion continuing on here. I will avoid it at any and all costs if I can, because again, I would just be adding to the noise. That's it for Nick's Nerd News this week. I know it was a long one, but I will see you guys next week.
This has been a production of Nick's Nerd News. Please do not use, without implicit